All right, so this is going to be a really fast tutorial on how to do tie-on knock points on your string, right? So I usually start off with something that's maybe about 6 inches, maybe 8 inches of thread, and I'll cut off 2 sections of that. You're going to see on my string, I've already marked where I want the bottom of the top knock point, and then we'll see how it fits after that, okay? So I'm going to cut my second one, get that ready. All right. Then what I like to do is I take a chunk of cut arrow, and I'm going to use that to help me wrap around the string, right? So we're going to get started close to by where I want the knock point to end up. We'll take a bit of the string and we run it down the side of that arrow tube. And now I'm going to do somewhere between 6 and 8 wraps. I'm going to go back over top of that string. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, right?
Okay, now I can.
So I'm going to go back around and I'm going to start to wrap up towards the top of the bow. Okay, and again, that's 3, 4, trying to keep everything nice and clean. 5, 6, and it really depends on how much thread I cut, whether I'll get to 8 or not. Sometimes I'm just not paying attention. Now I'm going to hold it in place. I'm going to slide the tube down, right? Now you can see the original piece sticking out. I'm going to take the end that we just finished with. I'm going to shove it back down the tube. You can do this with a pencil or something like that also, but this seems to work out the easiest. So now you can see that the string is, this piece is coming through the underneath all the threads or the wraps, and this one's coming out this way, right? Now what we're going to do is slowly start to squeeze or pull these through, okay, until we get that all flattened down. And now I'm going to go ahead and give it a nice tug and find my mark, which is right there. So I'm going to bring that back down to match that up, so now you can't see any of the Sharpie. And I'm going to give it a finger tight tug. And then what I like to do from there, you don't want to get crazy tight on this, but you want to get it tight so it doesn't move around a whole lot. So I'll take 2 pairs of needle nose pliers, give it a wrap like that, and now I'm going to slowly just kind of squeeze those, pull those apart, getting that knock point so it won't go anywhere, okay? And I'll clip off the ends, and eventually I'll burn those off in just a second, but I want to get the second one started first. Same process. I like 2 knot points, one for under, putting the arrow under, and the bottom one keeping it in place so when you're string walking it doesn't get out of it doesn't slide up and down the string. Again, I've got that first piece lining down the side, and now I'm going to wrap over top of it, and again going up towards the top of the bow. Five, 6. If I have one that's if I'm going to make sure I do one that's like 7 or 8 wraps, it's the bottom one, because that one usually gets touched by the archer more often than not. So I want to make sure that's got as much traction as possible so it's not moving around. So now I'm going to shove that back down through the arrow, right? I'm going to slowly pull it so it all stays flat, nice and neat. I'm going to just finger tight it, slide it up close to where we want it, and then I'm going to measure it real quick with an arrow on. Now I want it to be not snug. I want to have maybe 1 millimeter or 2 of travel, and that right there is a little too much, so I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. This is what I want, so when you're at full draw and that arrow or the string starts to pinch, it doesn't pinch onto the knock point real hard, right? So I'm going to get that a little more finger tight. She's not going anywhere. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down. the excess. And flame the rest of it, get it to melt down, smash it in. Keeping it flame away from the actual string itself, just lighten the excess. That's tie on Nock points.